Hello, me again. I can take my glasses off now. I came across a little saying that I hadn't heard before, and I can't decide what I think about it. So I thought that I'd have a chat about it with you guys, talk it through with you, and see if I can come to any understanding of it myself and see what you think. And the saying was, we carry on doing what we need to do in order to carry on doing what we want to do. We carry on doing what we need to do in order to carry on doing what we want to do. To me, that's a bit like the carrot and the stick. Sometimes I will do something that I really have to do to then give me free time to get on with what I'd much prefer to be doing. But at other times, I need, rather than the carrot, I need to do what I want to do, to put my mind and my body in the right frame in order to do what has to be done, what needs to be done. So is it just playing with words? Or are some people like that all the time? Are they always... I use the analogy of a pile of ironing. Not that I do much ironing these days. There are those who would work their way through the pile methodically. There are those who would pick out the easiest things and do those first so that they can see the pile going down. And then they'll tackle the bits they don't like. And then there are those of us who would grasp the nettle and do the bits that they don't like, which are probably the bits that are needed most. And back to the days when I used to have 3 white shirts a day to iron. Actually, I preferred ironing shirts to ironing many other things, so that's not a very good analogy there, Dee. So, what do you think about that? How do you work? Do you work best by getting the necessities out of the way? Maybe it's something that has to be done. Maybe it's something in the garden, maybe some digging or whatever that you don't like. And that has to be done whilst it's dry. And you know it's going to come on raining. So you've got to get that done first and then do some nicer things. So maybe it's not a general rule as it's purported to be, but it can also very much depend on whether there are other factors that are involved, other factors that might influence your decision. I don't know whether I'm talking myself into or out of this. So what sort of things do we think we need to do? Well, I suppose there's the cleaning. My windows, as I'm looking here, are absolutely dreadful, but they're going to have to remain like that. I need to do them, but I can't at present. I've needed to do them for quite a while, and I haven't, even when I hadn't had the excuse. Does that mean I'm getting lazy in my old age? Or does it mean that I'm prioritizing my time for other things? And is it down to that word, prioritizing? whether we prioritize the necessities or the things that bring us happiness and contentment. Maybe it's a bit like life. It's a bit of an old juggle. And there are times when we need to give our minds, our bodies, our feelings, that feeling of contentment, having done something for our soul, to give us a bit of a lift to carry on and do the mundane, the more boring things that need to be done. So am I talking myself into and then out of this? And does it really matter? I don't think it does, because life is full of little conundrums like this. And I don't think that there is one rule that fits us all the time. If you are consistent with that, let me know. Maybe it's down to the fact that I'm retired. When I was working, then yes, I would have to do the things that I needed to do. The endless report writing every night and every weekend. I had to do those, but the trouble was, by the time I'd done those, there was no time for doing what I wanted. So maybe that's why I prefer to now prioritize what I want. Could I be making up for lost time? Maybe it's a picture of a whole life, not just an hour, a morning, an afternoon, a day, a week even. I think I've still got a lot of making up to do on that front. I knew I had to do those reports whilst the child and their reactions were fresh in my mind. Yes, I'd got the statistics written down and I could work out their scores, which gave me the evidence. But for me, just as important as that evidence to show the difficulties that the child was having was the child themselves. Because as with so many things, you cannot take the person out of a situation, the individual out of a situation. It's down to what makes us tick, what's best for us. And that was the bit that was easily ignored. I could have just gone with statistics, but for me, that would have been just totally wrong. So there we are. I've argued myself round in about 3 or 4 circles there. And I think that my conclusion is that it's horses for courses. And maybe it's that you can make up for past time when you had to do things you needed. And it's okay to either be relaxing and just being, because that is important and that is what many of us want, but we also need it at the same time. Right, I'm going to shut up because I'm going round in another circle here. So thank you for listening to my trying to convince myself of one side or the other of this argument, and having decided that, no, I'm on the fence. Sometimes I'll drop down one side and sometimes the other. On that note, I shall say cheerio for now. Thank you for joining me. Take care. Bye.